before. It is the least expensive guitar in my line. It's great. I love these guitars. This is one of my main guitars that I use. And when I was talking about Joe Bonamassa before, if I have to endorse a company to use custom-made guitars from that company, I don't want that company. So what I use is what they produce. So when you see me play in concert, the only difference that I did on mine, this is called the MAB Relic. I took this middle position pickup out and I just put an LED in it. Now I want to play one more song and then I'm going to play the double and then we're done. I'm going to play a real special guitar here. This is one that is available too. It is a USA version. It was Dean Guitars' main factory is in Florida, Tampa, Florida. You can go visit the factory. It's an incredible place. And I mean, they can turn raw materials into guitars right there. And they make different, one of the things that makes Dean such a big company, just like, other companies think about this too, but I think Dean has really got it on. It's called a price point. Like, if you're going to pay this much for a guitar, what do you get for it? And they're really conscious of that. So you can find a price point for pretty much your budget and get a really top quality instrument. I love that guitar. And this one originally, believe it or not, is made in China. Now, I've been to China 15 times. In the year 2000, the Chinese didn't even know what to do with a guitar. If you played, I played. I'm the only Western artist, I'm the only non-Chinese person to ever play on their communist TV. I played on it last year. You wouldn't believe what I had to go through to do it. But I've been there pretty much more than any other Western artist. And they don't know about Elvis Presley. They don't know about Michael Jackson. They don't know, well, they kind of do now. But, their society was closed for a long time. It's see, China, they don't just, we talk about building a wall here in the United States. They did it. They built a Great Wall because they didn't want anybody in their country. They built it around their entire country. I was on it. And there's this part called the Heroes part. I swear to God, they must have been drunk as hell when they built this thing. The stairs are all asymmetrical. One of the stairs is this big, the other ones are like this. And you're climbing, and then the winds, the reason it's this crosswind that blows you off your feet. It's like 50, 60 miles an hour. And you're walking up, and you're like, one step is this big, the next one's this high. It's like, who thought of this stuff? Well, who was the engineer on this? And but it was crazy. But it's called the Heroes part because you can literally get blown off the wall. And I mean, I've seen all sorts of crazy stuff around the world just from playing the guitar. But the reason I say this is because China is really, I've got a really extremely intelligent nephew. His scholastic, like he's in the top 2% of every category cerebrally. He's a Davidson Young Scholar. He's just born brilliant. But I told him, his name is Alex. I said, Alex, he's not getting straight A's in school. I said, Alex, being smart's not really the thing that's going to get you through life. What I've kind of learned over the years is that when you're a young kid and you've got an IQ off the charts like Einstein, yeah, you do better in school. But as you get older, there are certain kids that are more resourceful. They know how to get around problems. Like when you're an adult, if AT&T screws you on your phone bill, what are you going to do? Or if you have a leak in your house, how do you deal with this? Or like if things don't go right in your life, do you flip out? And so I told him, I said, it's not the smartest people that are the most successful, Alex. It's the ones who are smart enough and the ones who are the most resourceful to get stuff done. And the reason I'm saying all this is because the Chinese study hard. I mean, you don't really hear about what's going on in the rest of the world. I can tell you guys stuff. I should be the guy on CNN and be on Fox News because I've seen this world. I've been to Brazil 6 times. I have seen the jungles of Borneo. I played out there. I played in the most populous Muslim countries. I was in the jungles of the Philippines performing in front of 7,000 people. I've been in India 5 times. I've been pretty much in every region of this world, all because of playing the guitar. And I can tell you stuff that would absolutely blow your mind, and you would think like, it's not reality. And I'll give you a perfect example of China. This is, everybody freaks out about, that we don't adhere to trees and things. See, the Chinese don't look at a contract like we do. They don't give They don't care. I'm not going to swear them. They don't care about our Western contracts. Did you know that the Chinese, there's a 9-dash line. You're going to hear about this, okay? They are controlling all of the South China Sea. They have this artificial thing. They actually, UN voted against the Chinese. They don't care. Chinese will look at you right in the eye and say, okay, we won't do this. They told President Obama, we're not going to build military installations on these man-made islands we're doing. What are they doing now? I just read in the paper today. They're flying bombers. Okay, see, it's not about lying or not. They don't care. In their culture, it doesn't matter. What matters is leverage. I have leverage over you, so I get to you. So because I got a guitar from China, and I respect the Chinese people. And I love them. I mean, I've been there a lot. I have a name from the Chinese, Hands Without Shadows. So I'm not criticizing them. I'm saying it's a way of thinking that is completely different than ours. But I'll tell you what they love. They love guitar. They love rock music. But here's the difference. When you see a lot of these young players today, the biggest difference between a person who plays great and that doesn't is the ability to tear into their instrument. Like, when you notice when I play hard. I'm like, ah! Well, when people get older, they lose that. And that loss, it's like if you listen to older singers sometimes, they're not as thick sounding as they were when they were younger. They've lost that girth in their voice. Well, watch a lot of these young players playing. They're like, wow, wow. When I went to Asia for the first time, it was in 1997, I went to China and played. I was the only Westerner there. I mean, it blew their mind. And back then, I didn't dye my hair black. My natural hair color is brown. I had blue eyes. I'm tall. They were like, I looked like an alien to them. I was the only non-Chinese there. I mean, think about that. America, we don't even consider that. And they were looking at me, and the women were like, "Oh, you're a very handsome man." I'm like, "Yeah, you're not too bad looking yourself." So anyway, so China was good to me. But the point is this, and they didn't even understand an electric guitar because their tonal system is different than ours. It's different. They don't have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. But I played in China with didn't even know what an electric guitar was. They didn't even know when to clap after I was done. They had no idea what was going on. Well, now in 2018, there are some amazing guitar players out there, and they're studying hard. That's the thing that I was trying to tell you. We take this stuff for granted. Everybody's arguing amongst each other here. They're not arguing, man. They're studying. They're working. And I have a lot of fans out there. They study my technique. I visit schools out there. I teach them how to play. Same thing here now when you see all these young musicians, very aggressive, they play like professionals. And it's something I've never seen ever in my life. But, a lot of it's like Instagram. You have that 1 minute and you just look. Like I just was watching a Jimi Hendrix thing of that song, Hear My Train A Comin'. He's playing acoustic 12-string. I was watching it before I left the hotel to come here. I was like, wow, man, I never saw this before. It's like, hear my train a coming. And he's a 20-year-old guy. He's playing like just really cool, man. It sounds really good. He looks cool. He's got nice teeth. I didn't even know Hendrix had such good-looking teeth. We're Americans. We like teeth. But he's singing, hear my train a coming. And he's singing this really good. And it's made for Instagram. It's absolute, the 1 minute segment, I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. But that's what we have. And that's what I'm saying, as a global, ambassador, I've just seen so many cool things in the world, and guitar is the most popular instrument out there. And we as Americans, this is not a patriotic thing, we invented the electric guitar, we invented jazz, we invented rock and roll. We invented what's great about music from the 20th century on till today. We're even still innovating. With the iPhone, with the ways we create music, it's so cool right now. But it all still comes down to a guitar and strings. So I'm going to play one more song, play my double, and that's it. We'll have a meet and greet here too. But just remember, every guitar here is for sale. And before I play again, can we get a round of applause? Chuck Levin,
Yeah.
Washington.
All right.
What a fantastic story. What a great story. And also, thank you for letting me tell you the world according to Mikey. I don't get a chance to do many clinics anymore. I've done thousands in my life, but I mostly do concerts. But I really enjoy it because I truly like to help people. You don't know what it was like to have a guy like a Tom Morello, who's Dean's, or John Petrucci tell me that I made an impact on what they did, because I have a gift of teaching, because I reduce complicated things to small, simple parts. See, being a good teacher is not using big words. I could talk to you about color pointillism or stretto and counterpoint or development or recapitulations in sonata allegro form, and that all makes sense. Just you've recorded it, put it out there. It doesn't mean anything. That's not teaching. That's bragging about words that you know. And it doesn't mean that you have a college degree that you're any good. It doesn't, I know lots of people that don't have degrees. See, in many ways, my education hurt at first because I started writing the jazz, rock, fusion, punk, metal song because I was so confused. And then one day it clicked like riding a bike. It's like all this theory in my head. And you know what I realized? You don't need it to write. That I analyzed after Bach didn't, but there are tendencies, and I have to just show you guys something. I'm sorry, a lot of people talk about the Beatles. Now, there is a reason we listen to certain music and it still sounds good. Led Zeppelin is one of them. The song Kashmir, the drums are in 4/4, the riff is in 3/4. It's polyrhythmical, but what it means is every 12 counts it circles around again. Da-da-dun, 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 da-da-dun. See, like da-da-dun, 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 da-da-dun. Page is playing in 3. John Bonham is playing in 4. Every 12 counts, it circles right around. It's brilliant. But it's so simple, but it became a hit song. A lot of Celtic music has mixed meters. Even my easiest songs have measures of 2s, measures of 3s. The trick is not to make it sound complicated. Money by Pink Floyd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's in 7/4. Okay, now that's like not a meter that girls want to go to in that math class. And so, but yet it became a hit song because it just flows so cool. And so, you know, there's all these really cool things about music, and this is stuff that I study. Now, I'm going to play on this guitar. I'm going to play one of my prog songs. I really like progressive music, and I don't like thinking in 4/4 a lot, but this song is called Hands Without Shadows, and the Chinese actually gave me that name. And if I say when I'm talking to you about China, I'm not talking to be about critical of them. I'm talking to you about the competition that they do to their own people. They make them excel, and they're really, like when I do a seminar in China, I got a million questions. They're always they're learning to speak English. Try to speak Mandarin. It's really difficult. There's 2 languages, but the main language in China is Mandarin. And then this other one, Cantonese. That's from Hong Kong. But I was in Hong Kong too the year that they turned it over to the Chinese. I know a lot about the world, and I know, and it makes me even want to work harder because you just have no idea what a lot of the other half does. You know, they say the grass is greener on the other side. It's not. It's not. We as Americans kind of take for granted sometimes what we got. When you go to other places and you realize what they don't have that we do. So anyway, here we go. This guitar is the USA guitar. It's awesome. Yeah, that main riff is in 15. I like that. Math rock. I remember we were writing songs, and we were in Chris Adler from Lamb of God. Absolutely amazing. I mean, Lamb of God riff. As soon as we played that song on tour, I played with him in India, we did a tour together, we would break into Lamb of God. I'm not kidding, I don't know what it is about that music. People just erupted into this frenzy. It's like, and Chris, man, that guy, and he's not the most, he'll tell you right out, he's not a trained school drummer. When he charts out stuff, it looks like caveman charts. You know, he was like, sent me a text of this, it's hilarious. But don't underestimate his ability to kill on drums. He's absolutely fantastic, and he's a great guy. But it's just interesting to me. One last thing before I play. One of the places that I've toured a lot in, and it's very close to us, is Mexico. And the thing that I love, like if you go into like Mexican restaurants down there, and I've been to all the different regions from Chiapas all the way up to Monterrey and Chihuahua. There's bands, and I've seen some pretty killer, sophisticated bands in some of these restaurants. Okay, you see, like they've got like this like digital rack thing that they carry around with them, and it's like it's badass sounding. And they come to your table and they're playing, and I mean it's this killer system. They're playing electrically. They've got mics. And they haul this stuff around from, and it's in the culture. The music is there, and that's the thing that you have to kind of understand when you think about the world. That just because we think things are the way they are, they're not. Not in a lot of other places. And you can't judge. I never judge a city by American city. You can't. You can't say Paris is like London, which is like New York, which is like Mexico City, which is like Lima, Peru, which is like Sao Paulo, which is like Rome. You cannot compare these cities, but they're all amazing in their own right. But when the culture is really based on music, like you'd be surprised. And